I can't remember the last time when the face-off between the opposition and the government has been so intense and perhaps even ugly. Political parties are throwing accusations against each other like confetti, and you get the sense that they are not talking to each other or engaging with each other or debating with each other, but really addressing their own constituencies. Parliament is in deadlock, the Pegasus issue, the farmer stir, and the politics over the pandemic have reduced politics in this country to never ending rounds of blame game. To make sense of this spectacle of political dogfights, I have on my show today Amrita Bhinder Chintamani. Amrita really needs no introduction. An IIM graduate and a tax lawyer to boot, she is an outspoken voice on all matters political, a sharp analyst who joins the dots to see the big picture, a commentator who is never afraid to hold back her punches. So welcome Amrita to the show. So really, what's Amrita really going on in Parliament? It seems like everybody has ganged up against the BJP. And finally, is Prashant Kishore's dream of uniting the opposition coming true?
So before I answer your question, I'll just make a quick correction. I am alumni and I went in a different direction, not a graduate course before the trolling starts. So I thought I'll just plug that in.
Okay.
Okay. So as far as Prashant Kishore is concerned, he did give this pledge that I will leave, election political analysis for a while and all of that. And we saw some interview suggesting that. It seems now he's in the realm of probably garnering strength in terms of numbers. Maybe wants to mobilize a pan-India movement, which probably looks as if it's going to be something towards protesting against the current government, because they've actually got themselves reduced to that. They don't offer solutions. They seem to become critiques, and the critiques now seems to be in terms of dharnas and all sorts of hyperbole, and it's got not very much of play of what do you bring to the table. So I'd never come across anybody's manifesto with what they plan on delivering. It seems more to do with we must say something very salacious, and that should be in the media, and then all of us should fight it out, and then level out this field by saying, hey, you need to respond, and if you don't respond, then probably you have something to hide. So every day they come up with something new. So that's what I think, honestly, of Prashant Kishore's strategy.
Okay.
It's not very good.
Yeah, sure. So, but this demand of the opposition that there should be a probe by the Supreme Court on this issue, do you think that there is support for that? Do you think there is some justification for this demand?
They've done this before for WhatsApp. Remember last year also there was a whole controversy, and then the court actually just didn't entertain that and said there's not enough. And, in fact, this whole issue brings to light something even bigger. One is that it is called data protection. Now, we need to understand the world over, our data is under threat. We came to know that data is being used even for election interference. Like, for example, remember Cambridge Analytica, and that came across. And so there seems to be a need today across the world, and more so in India, that we need to be protected and our privacy needs to be higher. Now, I don't want to reduce it to what Pegasus is about, that these guys have done enough damage already on TV to themselves and not to the Prime Minister. Let me be very clear on that, because it's all speculation. And when we get into the areas of speculation, then I have my own speculations. For example, the countries that are being named there is Azerbaijan, which is saying that Morocco is probably spying on them. Imran Khan is saying that it is Prime Minister Modi who's actually listening to my phone. And so there's a whole bunch of countries got involved, but nobody's really highlighting that Pegasus is a spyware which is run by NSO, which is we don't know, it's a private entity, we are being told, and that needs okay from their defense ministry from Israel. So it seems to be a bit of a world game, and it's not reduced to Indian politics. And to imagine that it has something to do with us, so to believe that we are now after Swati Chaturvedi or whoever this person is, and reduce it to that would be really it's really makes no sense. And then it gets into this realm of whoever wants to look big today wants to find themselves in some sort of a list. Amnesty has distanced itself. Forbidden Stories is something that has come out where the Hungarian spokesperson actually has put it on Twitter that this probably is linked to George Soros. And now we get into the George Soros. And if we get into the George Soros angle, then the conspiracy
you think he's the whistleblower? He's the man behind the entire fracas.
And Guardian wrote an article on him in the mainstream news saying, this guy is just coming up with things to throw off others of his, trying to catch him. And so basically they're suggesting that he is in the realm of conspiracy.
He's in the realm. But Amrita, let me ask you on this point something very interesting, because this is a very expensive software. So, the cost of assuming this is really happening, the surveillance is really happening, the cost of infecting the phones of all these people would be enormous, running into crores and crores. Whereas a 15-year-old can actually hack a phone and get into it today. Why would the government need to do that? I mean, I can't understand the logic behind the entire.
So let's break this down. In fact, thanks for bringing that part up because cost matters. Okay, so suddenly that's why I think that sometimes the people want to find the name on the list. It makes them worthy of the cause then, and then they can continue in the politics that they are, and then bring the parliament to a halt. That if the cost is so much, I must be important. That kind of rubbish. But the point is today, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you have on social media, we don't know the kind of information they're picking up. Today you order something, suddenly if you order on an app or Mindra or something, it suddenly starts showing up in your Facebook that you may be interested in this. So I may seem like a conspiracy theorist. Of course I could be. Who's to say? I don't have evidence to state. So if it's on speculation, then I think that none of our data seems to be very secure, is why I've said that probably the data protection bill, which has to get tabled in the parliament this session, needs to happen because there was a JPC and the JPC is already signed off on that report. The bill was, I think, made in 2019 and the JPC, the Joint Parliamentary Committee, sat on it. And the report is ready and it has to get tabled. So instead of them saying that let's push for the data protection bill, they're all saying that my name is on the list, I'm a big guy, I'm being harassed.
Yeah. Political brownie points, and we really don't know the truth where it is heading. But Amrita, I'll take you to another issue, which is which has deadlocked Parliament, and that is the farmers' stir, which is again a very important issue. Now, I can't for the life of me understand two things. On the one hand, there is no question about it. There are real farmers out there, but there are also the Aratyas who are being represented, and then there are the left people also. So the combination of the left and the Aratyas, who to some extent are capitalists, this for me is completely befuddling. How is this going on in the farmers'
It's become a melting pot for people who have an axe to grind. And just to take a second, Juggi, I think we need to bring in a historical context here. India actually shifted out of the shackles of socialism by Narasimha Rao back in 1991 when he pushed for liberalization. And that in itself, by the way, had the same bunch of people saying that this is just not doable. India is going to become a capitalist and we will just go under and the poor guy is going to get it. Okay, the same thing, the same hyperbole, the same kind of narratives were peddled that time also. And if we hadn't, and if Narasimha Rao hadn't done that, do you know we were going to go down as a nation in terms of our economy? We were anyways on the brink. Do you remember that gold being taken off on the flight to save us at that time? So we must see things in context. So one step was towards industry of liberalization, where you unshackle it from the government and allow it to expand. And why not? Okay, why would you sit like a big lord on anybody and everybody? Now that part has to come to the farmers because this is the only one today shackled by the government. Now they say that this is our security, this is what they're being told, but it's an honest statement that the security still remains because they spoke about the MSP, that still remains. The APMC, the mandis still remain. Right. The whole system is in place. Only thing that you are doing is that you're now saying that you can sell across the country.
Sure.
Okay, now you can access eNAM and decide which is the best price that you're getting in whichever mandi, and you can go and sell it at that one instead of being restricted to your own state. Right. So it gives multiple options. And if you don't give the farmer an option today, they're going to, farming as a profession is not viable. The only reason you see farmers in these guys who are representing the farmers in these big cars is because they're selling their land. So they take that land and then they buy a huge thing, and it's living your life on the capital investment that you have by liquidating it.
I understand.
So it makes no sense really that they would say that we don't want these options and we are scared of the.
Then, Amrita, what is the real thing going on? Is it a political motive which is behind this agitation, or is it pure anarchy? I mean, I can't understand what exactly is driving these people towards this end.
So let me go into a realm which can seem as if you're overstretching it, but I wanted to. The idea is that today the world is divided, and I think we are looking at how the world is going to move ahead. Are we going to move ahead under communist, socialist regimes? Or are we going to move ahead under free markets? Sure. I seem to be seeing the struggle everywhere. The free markets game is not that, so the left doesn't like that. If the left doesn't, the left controls the narrative in the world. So if you see any world who comes across as a intellectual, so to say, they're normally left. And I'm not talking about left because there are people who are humane, that's the angle they give, but left in the terms of communists.
Yeah.
That ideology. I'm not about the humanitarian aspect of it. Right is considered to be the ideology of capitalism. So I believe that India has probably something maybe to learn from, not to learn, but we are kind of that. We are a welfare state. Now, welfare state with a free markets outlook. Now, that's very doable. Of course, it's got its ups and downs, and it has to be thought it through the think tanks. But that seems to be the area where we are anyways headed and naturally, organically headed towards. So it is only once in 91, Narasimha Rao opened up the markets, did we see a surge in all our investments and how we are today. Otherwise, we were in line and ration ki katare mein khade the. You couldn't get a Vespa, you couldn't get a Fiat car, and people actually romanticized all of this and said, "Thoda sa hai, thode ki zarurat hai," and they were all singing songs about it. And today's kid has been born with, they think that electricity should be on demand 24/7. They need a cell phone. They can't imagine. We were told that computers were given to us by Rajiv Gandhi and Sam Petroda.
That's right.
As if they invented it. No, they just allowed it to happen, and that's how.
And therefore the corollary question for you is, and both you and I are Punjabis. I feel really sad because Punjabis are always very forward looking. We are people who actually are ahead of the times. I feel what's happening in Punjab, are we going back to the old bad days, when is the hardening of the stance on all sides? You think there is some kind of an extremism which is coming in, which can upset everything, because of the.
I think there is a lot of inflow of cash coming in to destabilize India, and that's coming across the nation. And as and when
you seriously believe that you think that's true?
I feel that why shouldn't we believe it? What is the reason that we shouldn't believe this? Are we thinking that conventional warfare is the where the world war is going to happen? I don't agree with that. I don't think it's going to be nuclear. I think that yes, biological weapon probably, and that we are already seeing. But it is easier for any hostile nation to pull off social unrest in a nation.
Right.
And if you see how communist regimes have always continued, they're very dictatorial, authoritarian in their own. But in the world's democracy, they use the loopholes to spread social unrest. And as you're seeing, whether you're seeing it in Europe, France, whether you saw the BLM movement and the anarchist issues that are playing out in the West, which is supposedly really on top of things, suddenly brings to light to me that what's happening in the world, and nobody can just go off with, I say, it's just 2020. Well, we are in 2021 and we've got years coming ahead, so it seems something more than what's missing. It's not meeting the eye just yet.
Right. Okay, so Pratap, let's swing to another last issue which I'd like to talk to you about, which is again an issue which is engaging Parliament. It's about the pandemic. There are two big issues that are going on. One is, of course, the vaccination program and the undercount. With Arvind Subramaniam and his report that more than 50 lakh people died. There can be a lot of hyperbole and bluster about this report. But do you think that the government, the optics of the government are good? Are they handling this criticism which is coming their way in the proper way? Or is there something lacking which you would suggest they should be doing? to counter that?
There will always be something lacking, and it will be stupid to say that the government doesn't need to pull up its socks, and then you are somewhere suggesting they are perfect. Nobody can be perfect, okay? And there has to be continuous improvement. Now, there was a lot of criticism that came across in the handling of the second wave, and why not? Okay, point taken. Because if you don't criticize, how is the improvement going to happen? If it's by denial, it's not going to happen. So I am all for criticism, but the criticism must come with solutions. It cannot be towards political ends, and you can't mix it into every sphere. So your Kisan movement will have some criticism which is totally unconnected to anything else. Now, at one point you are protesting outside, but you are also saying that the second wave wasn't handled, but then you are outside in huge numbers. So somewhere you yourself have to resolve the logic of things. No, it's the idea is not the citizen against the prime minister because a whole bunch of people have ganged up. It has to be, what do you want? What is it that you feel that has to be handled better? As far as I think the vaccination issue is concerned, I think India is doing a pretty good job, but in terms of percentage points, as in how much population we have and what is the percentage of them that we vaccinated, that number doesn't look good just by the sheer number of us. It's 1.3 billion people. But if you look at the number of jabs people have gotten as against the West world, we are really leading in that part. Will everybody get it? That's the Prime Minister's, he's put a thing that saying that by end of the year we should have mostly everybody.
They revised those targets, I believe, a little bit. But my point, Amrita, again, is that there are a lot of contradictions in the opposition argument. But I still get the sense somehow that the government has not been able to, through its spokesperson, has not been able to pinpoint or buttonhole on these contradictions and bring them to the surface. Sometimes they say a subtle instrument is more effective than a blunt instrument. Do you think that could be the case out here?
So I was a spokesperson. I honestly, I never knew what I'm saying. So like I said just at the very start, I'm just going to speak from my heart, and I don't know what is the strategy to get through to people. I don't know if I could. Somebody said that you used to do a good job. Somebody said my father said that I don't know what the hell you say. Okay, why don't you come to the point quicker? So honestly, I don't know what is it that the public needs to hear, and how much can you really make them hear so how much can you tailor it? It seems that in this case that no matter what you say, you're going to get a backlash. I used to face it as why I quit the party. I couldn't take it anymore. The point of the person coming up with issues which are anyways, this is going in the wrong side. You're not trying to blame anybody for asking you a question, but there has to be an onus on yourself understanding each point separately. Just to club it under one umbrella and ask the person, hey, explain this to me, and then you will yourself get bored when they start because it's so detailed oriented. And if it is so detailed, then the point of you saying, hey, I'm just a layperson. So I don't know anymore.
You will get criticized either which way, and therefore you think the government should go ahead with its program.
The government needs to continuously improve. I don't know if they've hit the formula. I don't know what the formula is anymore.
The formula is,
to get the point across.
I guess when we discover the magic formula, I think we can all breathe easy and we can have some more sense, in a day-to-day polity. But Amrita, on this absolutely wonderful note, thank you so much for joining us today and taking out the time. And let's hope some more sense, some more peace draws on Parliament and things are more cool. We all want a better polity. We all want, a more stable state of affairs. But at the moment, it seems like a pipe dream.
Yeah, on my ending part, I just wanted to say that end of the day, we are all citizens. Okay, you may align with the political party, but you personally get affected by the politics. So in that case, you must put yourself as nation first and not politics first.
Politics.
Okay, because you are here for generations, your kids and everybody. Now, in that say, there is an onus on all of us to think for pro-nation and not think pro-party. Now, how many of us are doing that is what we'll see, the hyperbole that is around the narrative building. And we all talk in narratives nowadays. Nobody talks the truth.
Okay. Well, on that pleasant note, Amrita, thank you so much for joining us today, for taking out the time. And
thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks a lot, Juggi.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.